Welcome to another episode of the Sports Business Leaders Podcast.
I'm your host, Justin Tichinell.
Sports Business Leaders is a community and event series for innovators, athletes, entrepreneurs, and executives in sports to connect, share ideas, and explore collaborations. So, on the podcast, we interview members of the community, and today we have a very special guest. We have David Aaron, the CEO at Envision. David, over his career, has worked and done a lot of creative brand management work for the NHL, NFL, and Ohio State. So, David, thanks for coming on today.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yes, sir. So, David, we spoke the other day about how Envision isn't just another business development solution. It's focused on building impactful, long-lasting, story-driven brands. So, what inspired you to start Envision, and how does your deep partnership approach differentiate Envision from other traditional branding firms?
Yeah, I think taking it back to when we started. So we started at the end of 2019. Started with my co-founder Durga Mishra out of Columbus, Ohio. At the time, we were just graduating Ohio State. From there, based on our backgrounds, I think at the time what we really saw was the power of brand, the power of creativity has a much higher ceiling than what was currently, looked at by people and by business owners, by founders. And what we saw is that it's not just, traditional understanding of brand on social media or with creative outlets, but that brand can actually drive real business growth. From there, we set out to become what we're at now, which is 6 years later, what we call a business development solution for innovative, purposeful businesses looking to capitalize on the modern market. So that's a bit about the background of kind of where we set out and where we got to the spot we're in today. But yeah, it's a bit of background.
And David, you've worked with a lot of cool teams and a lot of cool brands. Time with the NFL, time with Ohio State University. I went to Wisconsin for grad school, so the Buckeyes were always a tough thing to. And I was in Columbus for some of those games, and I remember when you guys would come to town, it was always scary. So, but I'll give you a pass here. But in working with teams and working with clients, and you building your team, it's always something interesting around making sure that people are in alignment. And one of the things when we've been talking about these things and getting to know each other over the last couple months is one of the things that comes to mind is like there's this book called The Founder Dilemma, and most startups and businesses, the main reason that they fail is actually like co-founder problems and being misaligned with your team. It's like 60% of them, that's the reason why they fail, is co-founder and like alignment within challenges with like the vision of where you're taking the business, how you're working with clients, how you're communicating with clients. So I'm just curious about how you navigate those things within Vision and how you make sure that your vision as CEO, your team, all your partners, your clients, how do you maintain this alignment?
Yeah, that's I didn't know the statistics on it, but I can see how that would come up. And I think from day one, what was most important for us is the culture that we are creating. As cliche as that sounds, you could ask anybody on our team. It matters more than anything. It matters more than the results we're getting for clients. It matters more than, money. It matters more than performance metrics. It really matters more than anything. It's the ground floor of when you walk into Envision. Culture is what matters. And I think if you say that, 60% of businesses fail because of co-founder or high level executives not being on the same page. For us, that is why we set out that way. This is not about me. What we're doing is not about me. It's not about Durga. It's not about our team below us. It's about the collective of what we are trying to bring into the world. When that, I think, at least to me, when that is the ground floor, or when that is the door that you walk into when creating a business at a high level, something that we want to, make a real big impact in the world, when that is the first brick, you set yourself up for, success and sustainability. And it's things that we learn along the way, how to do business, how to make relationships and go forward. But at least we know that our soil and our foundation is ingrained in these positive culture aspects that, keep us going. And kind of in sport and in business. You mentioned the Buckeyes. It's the best culture it gets. So that's kind of like how we go about it.
Yeah, David, I love all of that. And how you described leadership, it's more so about the collective, like you were saying, about rather than one individual. And it sounds like you guys at Envision, you're working as a collective to really make change. And so obviously sports business leaders, our community is focused on sports. You guys are out not just sports, but obviously, work in sports a little bit. So bringing it into that sports scene, we're seeing a massive shift in sports business, athlete branding, fan engagement, especially with things like NIL and how college athletes are being paid now. Um, where do you see the biggest opportunities for brands, athletes, and teams in 2025 and beyond?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think I'm even looking at all those logos behind Jake's screen. It's to me, and what we talk about with a lot of our partners, and we call them partners, not clients, for a reason. You know, our team is their team. We're in it to help them take their story, their unique story, bring it out to the world, and make a difference in where they're going. The big differentiator for us since day one is the story. I know people say storyteller, we're storytelling type of business, we do this or we do that. To us, the only differentiator in a crowded market like NIL or a crowded market like travel sports or youth sports or universities, even when you talk about recruiting athletes, the biggest differentiator is what are those things beneath the soil? What are those touch points that make you special? I know I actually talked, I see that Orgo in the top right-hand corner of your screen, who I met through SBL, Zoya. We had a long conversation about that when we met, and there's a lot of new solutions, new entrepreneurs who are coming out with great ideas in congested markets. It's not going to be, the product to drive you to the top. It's not necessarily going to be, how good your creative looks or how good your app looks or how functional it is. All that is important. But what is really going to take you above the pack is your story and who you are and what you're bringing to the world, the purpose, the impact, and where you want to go. And I wholeheartedly and deeply believe that. And we see it in what we do. You know, our special partners are the ones that aren't just in it to make money, aren't just in it to make sales or to grow, but they're in it to bring something unique to the world. And it's on Envision to help bring that to the surface and beyond.
Yeah, I love that, David. And speaking of your unique partners, there's another awesome shout out for Zoya and Orgo. We really believe in her and what she's building. Another partner of yours, I love to spotlight and give you an opportunity to talk about what you do and the unique partnerships that you have and working with special people. But shout out to Kevin Owens with Overseas Famous. He was a professional basketball player, I think closer to 10 years in Europe, and has a book and I think has a podcast, spoken around the country and world potentially, but has a community and platform essentially for overseas athletes, either current or prior athletes, and to help them with either their careers after that, their business opportunities after that. I'd love to maybe have you talk about that partnership and what you guys are doing together. I love Kevin and what he's building, and clearly you are helping him manifest that vision with Envision.
Yeah, that's well said at the end there. But so I met Kevin, and he's through SPL, and it's a great, obviously, I wouldn't be here without SPL and what you guys are building. Kevin Owens is a special, special human being. From the time you meet him, you know right away. I think, Jake, you met him one or two times, but you can hear it in his voice. You could hear the passion. You could hear, his desire to build something in the world that really makes a difference. When we met, he came to us to Envision with this idea that he wants to build the ecosystem to bring together the overseas basketball community, which is 10,000 plus athletes, teams all over the map, big leagues, small leagues, agents, advisors, etc., a completely disjointed ecosystem. And his goal was to bring together this ecosystem into one centralized spot. He came to us with the idea and transparently said, I have a vision. I would love to be a founder. I want to bring this to life, but I have no idea how to bring this to life in the modern business landscape. Luckily, that's what we do at Envision. And we call ourselves the keeper of the story, the connector of the possibility, with the understanding that the story comes first. Kevin's desire to bring that into the world is, in the soil of what we're doing. And it's our goal to connect to the possibilities and give him the engine to drive and the fuel to dream. 6 months later, we came together, started the business, and now we're getting off the ground with real infrastructure and a real push forward to bring this concept to life. And, I think he would say, if he were on here, he could not do what Overseas X is pushing to do without Envision. What I will say is every partner we work with, specifically early stage founders, it doesn't matter what we do. If they are not special, purposeful people who are looking to bring a story and a real impact into the world. When we have that though, and we match them, it's a really great match, and we can give them the infrastructure to drive and the fuel to dream. So it's a great example of what makes Envision special. And we have other partners in that space as well. Walk On Mentality, Life Sports Agencies, a couple other, really early stage, or were early stage at the time they met us, that we helped them become where they're at. But like I said, if from day one the founder's mind is not in the right spot and their heart is not in the right spot, there's nowhere to drive. But it's a great example, and shout out SPL for bringing us together and keeping us together.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. Really appreciate you sharing all that. So, how can the community stay in touch with you?
The community can stay in touch with me. It's a good question. Through LinkedIn, through our social handles at Envision Story. Those will be rolling out I know we're going to talk a bit about the future, but those will be rolling out in the very near future. We've been around for 6 years. In the first 5 years, we were pushing forward. We took a step, I would say not a step back, but a pause in our brand so that we could develop internally to where we're at now. But come July and come this summer, a full new brand push will be going. So follow us on socials at Envision Story. My email, our website, envisionstory.com, and my LinkedIn, connect with me there.
Yes, sir. Well, David, again, really appreciate you sharing everything. Thanks again. And sports business leaders, thanks for watching.
Thanks, David.
Love it. Got you. Perfect. Thank you, guys.